visual aid, and due to the fact that I did hit a kidney foul on the way to school, I did not have time to stop and get another one. So there is no visual aid for my thing. My name is Shannon, and today I'm going to convince you guys why it's a good idea to take a nap. Have you ever wanted to take a nap right after lunch or during your mid-afternoon slump? Well, I say do it, and I'll show you why you should be taking a nap. A nap is defined as to sleep lightly or briefly, especially during the day. Synonyms for the word nap are doze, sleep, sleep lightly, take a nap, cat nap, rest, take a siesta, a lie down, or a little rest. Naps are woven into daily routine in different parts of the world. Countries like Greece, the Philippines, Mexico, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Nigeria, Spain, and Italy are a few that life comes to a grinding halt in the early afternoon. And people may take a siesta, as it is called in Spain, or a repso, as it is called in Italy. These naps can last anywhere from 20 minutes, which is the traditional meaning of the word siesta in Spain, or may become a longer mid-afternoon break, which varies from one country to another. The tradition of taking a nap began as a necessity in some parts of the world due to the climate. The heat places such as Mexico and Ecuador would force people to take a break and retreat to the comfort of home. And add to this the heaviness of the new meal, and you have the perfect condition to take a nap. Over time, there have been adaptations to the routine. For example, in China, workers often take a break and place their heads on their desk for up to an hour after lunch. In fact, my son pointed this out that they don't have a constitution, but it is one of their rights as employees in China to take a nap. In Italy, breakfast may begin any time between noon and 1:30 and run until 2:30 and 4 p.m. Businesses shut down, and public places like museums and churches lock their doors so that employees can go home for leisurely lunch and a snooze. In Spain, the siesta is deeply ingrained, as businesses often close for hours to accommodate the midday rest. While the siesta can span 2 hours, only a fraction of the time is actually spent napping. First, there's lunch with family and friends, then a rest. Because of this midday break, people often work later into the evening. In the U.S., napping isn't quite a cultural tradition, at least not yet. But we're gradually moving closer to the lifestyle. Some big companies like Google are becoming nap friendly, largely because they believe that it increases productivity. All right, now that I've covered the meaning of the word nap and the history of nap, let's talk about the benefits of taking a daily nap. The first benefit of a nap is increased alertness. When your eyelids are too heavy to keep open, you're not doing your best work. A study done by NASA found that a 40-minute nap increased alertness by 100%. A different study found that a 20-minute nap is more effective than 200 milligrams of caffeine or even exercise. Pilots that were allowed to take a 25-minute nap while another pilot manned the controls got about 5 times less frequently than their sleep-deprived peers. The same pilots that had napped had less errors during takeoff and landings. The second benefit of napping that I'm going to discuss is that it improves learning and working memory. I know working memory is a cognitive system that has a limited capacity. It is responsible for transient holding, processing, and manipulation of information. This type of memory is very important because it is used in reasoning and the guidance of decision making and behavior. This memory is the one that you use when you have to pay attention to one thing and hold other things in your memory. Napping also improves your memory retention. During sleep, recent memories are transferred to the neocortex, where long-term memories are solidified and stored. I actually found this out when I was taking my algebra class. I wasn't doing very good because I was only sleeping like 5 or 6 hours a night. Towards the end of my term, I started sleeping 7, 8 hours, and my grades went from C's to A's, just because I was sleeping the extra 2 hours. Another benefit of napping provides that it prevents burnout and reverses information overload. One of the most common reasons that people give for not taking a nap is that they have too much to do. Studies have shown that putting in extra hours without adequate rest dramatically reduces your productivity. A study in which subjects performed a vital or visual task over a course of 4 days. In each successful session, the subject's performance on the task deteriorated. But when the same subjects were allowed to take a 30-minute nap after the second session, the decline in performance was halted, and after a 1-hour nap, the performance actually improved in the third and fourth sessions. Additionally, napping improves health. Sleep deprivation leads to an excessive hormone, cortisol, in the body. Cortisol is known as the stress hormone. It helps us deal with the fight or flight response. But excessive cortisol increases glucose intolerance and abdominal fat, weakens the muscular and immune systems, stymies memory and learning, and decreases levels of growth hormone and testosterone in our bodies. These effects can lead to diabetes and heart disease. When you're asleep, you release growth hormone, the antidote to cortisol, which boosts your immune system, primes your sexual function, reduces stress and anxiety, and aids in muscle repair and weight loss. Napping gives your brain a chance to rest and your body a chance to heal. The proof's in the pudding. A study done with Greeks found that those who took a 30-minute nap at least 3 times a week had a 37% less risk of dying from heart-related conditions. Among working men, that risk of death, was reduced by 64%. And lastly, napping improves mood. The neurotransmitter serotonin regulates our mood, sleep, and appetites. It produces a feeling of contentment and well-being, but when our bodies are stressed, higher levels of serotonin are used, and the production of more is blocked. As a result, we become more anxious, irritable, depressed, overwhelmed, and easily distracted. According to Mednick, napping bathes your brain in serotonin, reversing these effects and creating a more positive outlook. All right. The non-benefits of napping. One of the non-benefits that I could find is about naps is linked that to type 2 diabetes. Researchers from the University of Tokyo found evidence that it might be so. Their findings were presented in an annual meeting of the European Association for the Study of Diabetes, and they have reason to believe that sleepiness throughout the day, along with taking longer daytime naps, may be linked to type 2 diabetes. According to the study led by Dr. Tomoyama of the University of Tokyo, daytime sleepiness, along with napping, is rampant around the world. While most people know to keep their naps brief, others will nap for hours on end, and this can be potentially dangerous. In addition to this, researchers have found that naps can become habitual, as people will carve out a few minutes to a few hours each day for sleeping. To find the possible repercussions of daytime sleepiness and napping, researchers conducted a mega-analysis of a range of international studies regarding sleep and type 2 diabetes. Looking through various sources, including Medline, Cochrane Library, and the Web of Science, researchers selected 10 studies consisting of 261,365 people. These studies came from a multitude of different countries, with research selected from Sweden, Spain, Finland, and Germany to assess the effects of daytime sleepiness, and the USA, China, and Germany to evaluate the effects of daytime naps. After examining the results of these studies, the researchers found that type 2 diabetes increased by 56% in those who were excessively sleepy throughout the day. For those who took naps longer than 60 minutes on a regular basis, the risk of developing type 2 diabetes went up 46%. The other non-benefit that I found was long-time daytime naps may not do your heart any favors. Researchers found that long naps and excessive daytime sleepiness were linked to an increased number of different health problems. All being grouped under metabolic syndrome, this study also saw an increase in the risk of heart disease. Metabolic syndrome includes conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and excess fat around the waist. The investigators analyzed the finding of 21 studies that included a total of more than 307,000 people. For example, napping more than 90 minutes appeared to increase the metabolic syndrome by as much as 50%, as did daytime sleepiness. But it was also found in those same studies that told you that you could get an increased diabetes and metabolic syndrome. They found that these weren't the cases if you slept less than 40 minutes. 40 to 45 minutes is like the golden time to take a nap because you get all the benefits of the nap, but none of the showed that people who nap for less than 40 minutes were not at an increase for metabolic syndrome. In fact, those who nap less than 30 minutes had a slight decrease in risk. But there was a sharp risk in a rise in a risk among those who nap for more than 40 minutes, that's the author said. The review also found that napping for more than an hour or being overly tired during the day were both linked with a 50% higher risk for type 2 diabetes. However, the study only found an association between these factors and did not prove that excessive sleepiness and long naps actually cause medical symptom or diabetes. And you still have the benefits even when you do nap: increased alertness, improved learning and working memory, prevents burnout and reverses information overload, improves health, and improves mood. And in conclusion, about 1/3 of American adults do not get enough sleep, according to the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. The National Sleep Foundation recommends a nap of 20 to 30 minutes to boost alertness. Sleep is an important component of our healthy lifestyle, as well as diet and exercise. Yamaha said, short naps might have a beneficial effect on our health. We just don't know the strength of the effect or the mechanism by which they work.